Hello, everybody. 4 for 4, baby. Yeah. Um, I I wanted to make a quick video about this topic just because I was reading I mentioned in one of my videos, not I don't think yesterday but the day before, but I've been like browsing more of Reddit of like the recovery forums and the inhalant recovery forum that I started, and also like quitting Kratom and all that stuff. And in one of the recovery subreddits, someone was posting about how their husband relapsed on apparently there's a product called Feel Freed. Which is gonna be the title of this video. Apparently, I didn't look too much into it, but apparently it's they have different like formulations, but it looks like their classic is like Kratom and Kava. Which, it sounds like a pretty good combination, honestly. Like, sounds like it probably would be a pretty good product, but I wanted to make a video because it's it's just crazy how these things are sold and marketed to people that don't really understand the full extent of what they're ingesting, what they're consuming. By the way, I wanted to say thank you, Mom and Dad, for these tank tops. This is another tank top that they got me for Christmas. It's very nice. It fits very nice. But it's crazy. It's like so crazy, like how this stuff is sold to people, and like a lot of people don't realize the extent of it. Like for me, with my experience with Kratom addiction, and I've used Kava. I wouldn't say like so much an addiction with that, or like physical dependence, but with Kratom, definitely experience with addiction and physical dependence. I knew about kind of the properties of Kratom and what it does, and how it's very similar. I mean, it's an opioid. It's so it's similar to other medication or substances like oxycodone, heroin, morphine, codeine. You name it. They all act on the same receptors. And of course, they're all different from one another in different potencies and maybe like probably how like they agonize the receptors, like the affinity and stuff like that. I won't go into that, but there's differences, but for the most part, they all act on the same receptors and act in a similar fashion. So I was very familiar with that, but was still willing to take Kratom. And I won't talk too much about it. I don't want to talk so much about my history with Kratom. Maybe I'll make another video. I've made a previous video, but I think as I'm doing better and better, and my mind is doing better and better, I want to remake a lot of my videos. Like I want to remake my nitrous videos, remake my Kratom videos, and talk more about my other experiences with substances. Not to glorify it or tell war stories, but I think it. Hopefully, there's like some help in for other people in hearing about that sort of stuff, and maybe as a cautionary tale, or maybe people can relate more to it because it's like, oh hey, I had a similar thing happen to me when I was doing Kratom or whatnot. And of course I do want to talk more about recovery and stuff like that too, but small goals. 4 out of 4 days is already like a fucking killer goal. And I'll do a recap too. Today's been a pretty good day, not too much going on, but anyways, yeah, so I was aware of it, but it's just like, wow, it was a bitch to fucking quit Kratom. It was so horrible. And it's like, it's not like it was like, I can imagine, well, I don't want to say it's like, oh, it's not as bad as like, you know, people withdrawn from heroin or morphine. It's like, I think there's not a lot of use in like comparing people's like withdrawal from different substances. I mean, everyone's going to go through their own unique withdrawal experience, and you know, I think the very shared commonality would be that it's horrible. it's terrible on some degree or another. You know, it's like someone might have, you know, a few symptoms, someone might have several symptoms, or, you know, some symptoms might present in someone's withdrawal and might not present in someone else's. But so I don't like to try to compare, but yeah, it was pretty bad, you know. Like for me, it wasn't gastrointestinal so much, not like nausea or vomiting. I mean, some diarrhea, of course, but just like that just restlessness and like sweatiness and just anxiety and just like this like gaping hole in just like you know, what Kratom was filling. And then of course, you know, you deal with the post-acute withdrawal, and you know, I'm sure I still deal with that. You know, that's probably what plays into my ups and downs in terms of my energy. You know, because I did take Kratom for several years, for quite a long time. But again, I don't want to go too much into it. I you know, I'll talk in a video, but long story short, it's just crazy though, like how this stuff is like marketed. And then apparently, again, I didn't do too much research, but you know, like Joe Rogan was talking about these feel-free shots or tonics on his podcast. I don't know if he was like advertising them or like saying, hey, you should check them out. I don't know the extent, but you know, from the sounds of it, you know, he did discuss it at some point on his podcast. And yeah, it's just unfortunate that a lot of people, you know, don't do research, because it's one thing to do research and know what you're taking and to still take it. Not like it makes it any better when, you know, some people get physically dependent on it, but at least it's like, well, you kind of knew what you were signing up for. Not that I guess, you know, I don't want to correlate that with like, oh, well, they deserve it then. You know, it's like, just because you know about it doesn't mean you deserve, you know, physical dependence. But I feel like it's another thing, though, for people that, like, you know, might be blindsided by taking these and being like, oh, you know, this is, like, really helpful. Like, I feel, like, more relaxed and more sociable, and I feel like more euphoric, or like I feel happier, and it's like blah 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 blah, and they give me more energy. It's like, and then you continue to take those because they're helpful, and then it's like, then when you run out or stop taking it and you start to feel like shit, it's like, why am I feeling like shit? And it's like, oh, because there's, you know, Kratom in here. And I think there's like, it's like an extract. It's like the mitragine. It's like the main components of Kratom. And then Kava too is another interesting one. I'll maybe talk about that later. But it's just like, but sad though. It's just like, you know, it's like that's just like widely available. Which, don't get me wrong though, I do believe that, you know, Kratom should still be legal. And sold legally. I feel like a lot of substances should be at least decriminalized. I won't go into that discussion either. You know, I think there's some merit to changing at least how things are currently. You know, in the United States, or I guess worldwide as a whole. But that's neither there or here. So I still feel like it should be sold, but it's just like, it's crazy how it's just like sold and it's like available. I can walk, you know, like on my bus ride, when I take the bus, you know, like down to the store or down to the gym, I pass by like at least 3 or 5 like smoke shops or gas stations or just any sort of store that has like Kratom, like advertisement on the window, or even out on the sidewalk, or like even some have like a flag flying. It's like Kratom sold here. And it's just crazy how it's everywhere. And it's like a lot of people, again, don't understand the depth of it. I mean, it's like, it's an opioid, and it's like, for some people that's going to lead to significant opioid dependence, and eventual withdrawal when you try to quit. And it's just like, I don't know, man, it's crazy. It's just fucking nuts. But again, it's just like, that's the case with a lot of things. Like some people probably think that nitrous is pretty harmless, and for the most part, I would say it is if you were to use it responsibly. Now, granted, I didn't use it responsibly, so, not very safe in that regard, but, yeah, it's just like, I don't know, it's just, it's a shame there's not more information out there, like people, like, making more informed decisions, but I guess you can apply that to, anything in life. It's like, it's a shame that people aren't more informed about their finances, like budgeting, how to manage money. They're not as informed as they probably should be in like with nutrition and diet and exercise and just like a lot of things in life. It's a shame that that stuff is not taught, but so it's like you can apply it to more than just like substances. Just kind of just a thought, but I'll kind of leave it at that. But I think it's again, I think what I've been thinking is one of my intentions as, continuing this momentum and continuing to do well, and like my thought process and my cognition. Hopefully you guys can see it too. Like I'm able to articulate myself and like, stay mostly linear, but like, my brain's still like always, I was diagnosed with ADHD, as a child, and, so I always have like a bunch of thoughts going on all the time. So, I might have like a thought process like pop up and like have a tangent. But I'm getting back to where I used to be, like where I can go down that tangent and then eventually get back to the point, like where I was, not just like, oh, where was I? Not that it makes listening to me in a linear fashion any easier, but at least it's a little more collected, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, it'd be cool to kind of remake some videos if I can articulate myself better and talk about those sort of subjects in better detail. But yeah, as far as today is gone, today's it's been a better day than the past few days. It seems like being very diligent and mindful of doing everything I can self-care wise, like going to the gym and hygiene stuff. And again, it's just like, it sounds so basic or like so I almost want to say like pathetic. It's like duh, like brush your teeth, like, and take a shower. It's like, duh, but it's like, I don't know. For me, with having depression, it's just easier to really like forego those things. So, I guess for me, it's not as like common sense, or it's like, not like common sense, but like putting it into practice, I suppose. But regardless, it's like, it's been nice over the past like 4 or 5 days of like putting this into practice and doing everything, getting up and eating, brushing my teeth, going to the gym, showering, trying to eat relatively decent. Like for dinner tonight, I'm not super hungry, but I do want to get some protein, so I'll probably have like some I got like packets of tuna and stuff like that, cans of tuna. I'm trying to show them, or get them out so I can show you guys. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, like tuna. I have so much tuna from freaking the Ibotta offers, and it's like they stay good for quite a long time, but I need to start eating these before they go bad. But it's like, yeah, best used before by March 25th 2024. So actually that's coming up. Shit. Yeah, anyways, so I'll probably like eat like a can of tuna or something, like some sort of lean protein and maybe a yogurt, but yeah, it's like doing those things and just being just very diligent is like really paying off, and I'm really thankful for that. So ended up having a pretty good leg workout, actually really good leg workout today. Really killed it. That's also why I want to try to be especially like mindful of consuming protein, enough protein so I can recover efficiently. And like I talked about last night, my forearms too, I want to make sure my forearms are in decent enough shape to be able to get a good arm workout tomorrow. So yeah, other than that, I just been like I said, browsing Reddit, and it's just like nice to just read other people's stories and maybe comment occasionally or respond occasionally, and just be like, provide support, or I don't know, just be like, hey, I can relate. And then yeah, doing these videos is nice too. I don't know, it's fun. So yeah, just figured I read about that, and it kind of was just like, oh, that'd be something interesting to talk about, and keep the streak going. So yeah, we'll end it here. Thank you guys for watching. I won't ramble this time, so I'll see you guys next time.